Hello all, Alison here. Welcome back to Words and Pictures for some more tag time. If you missed last week, do check it out. We went through half of this tag crate and I talked a little bit about the crates themselves and the tag storage and why I'm sharing past tags rather than making new tags for these couple of weeks. So check out that episode. I will aim to link it down below. But it's time to go through the rest of this particular crate. Beautiful wooden crate. So let's have a look. We're starting with some that are all-time favourites of mine, I think. Just a softness and a gentleness to them. Sorrowfulness, a little bit of melancholy, amazing layers in those backgrounds. You've seen this architecture stamp in action in recent days, as well as the clock cabochons, those little clusters of flowers. This is all very high Edwardian, and so the two paper dolls I've chosen, both seated, both in glorious soft white dresses, watching and waiting. I think I may have cut that one apart, the watching and the waiting. I think they may belong together. My heart still drew me there, this soul with sorrow laden. There's a romantic with a capital R and a romantic with a small r in this, both that sort of sense of a longing, a heart yearning, somewhere that meant a lot to somebody, mementos, all of that kind of business, waiting and watching, but also romantic in that capital R kind of sense, the whole genre of poetry and flowers and romance and nature, the romantics. Good, yes, I like those two a lot. Let's put these a little further aside. I don't think there's going to be room otherwise. What have we got here? Oh, more, yes. So these were all about the backgrounds, really. These were some backgrounds I made when Uncharted Mariner first put in an appearance. And oh my goodness, I fell in love with it very rapidly. Just that sort of sense of antique maps and things that it gives you when you're splotching and smooshing. There's some more of the rusty wire mesh that we saw in action last week. And some Tim Holtz ephemera, as always. The stamping in the background, Theatre Royal it says there. Pretty sure that's one of my background stamps. Shakespeare, yeah, Shakespeare is here. So that's The Winter's Tale, or maybe A Midsummer Night's Dream actually. The Shakespeare first folio frontispiece with his comedies, tragedies. That, as is often the way, I've taken one piece of ephemera and cut it in half so that I can have it on both tags. And as always, just swapping the position just gives you a different look at things. You notice different elements when they're positioned another way round. I was talking last week about how I like a focal point in the arrangement of the tags. I like the focal point travelling upwards, so I like the story of those photos in that direction. But there's something really dynamic about this where I can sort of see there's another piece of ephemera cut in half that you can restore. Little screw heads, just to up the illusion of that. And my much loved curator labels, reflections of each other. She tried to remember little clippings, stickers there. Those were clipping stickers as well on that one. What have we got here? Ooh, I don't remember these at all. That's clearly me having a play with springtime colours. I think there's quite a lot of oxides in that background, the smoky, chalky softness of it. Possibly some shaded lilac, maybe dusty concord, although that's quite rare for me. I'd say there's salvage patina in there, maybe twisted citron, that bright toothy green. And then, yeah, real lavender stems from the garden. So people who are ask if things get broken. That's one lavender stem in, there's 10 years of work. We're looking back down here probably. And I do have ones that have, I think in that time, I've maybe had 2 broken twigs, and I mean, I seriously, I can count on the fingers of one hand the number of times it's happened, even with this event. And as you see, just a bit of glue and a bit of care and attention, and you'd never know. I'll let that dry before I put it back in the crate. So yeah, make me a promise, do all the good you can. We seem to have hit a clipping stickers streak here. She could believe all her dreams would come true. There's another of those lovely transparent butterflies. So yeah, chopped in half, there he is. And I think quite a lot of the rest of this ephemera I chopped in half as well. So that one there is one thing. This one here I think was one piece. curator labels. And again, you can see the butterfly like that is one butterfly, but as soon as I do this, you sort of have much less of a sense of that being a cut in half thing. You also get a profusion of lavender growing in the middle. I'm going to have a smell of these as well. Oh yes, that lavender is still fragrant, even though I think on that lavender, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking maybe I put a little touch of fresco paint on it to help it keep its colour. The fresco paint in lavender and wisteria is perfect for just highlighting lavender stems that have dried and gone a bit brownish, but it still smells beautiful. So that's those. Quite unusual turn into springtime. This is a oneer, I think, Lost in the Darkness. There are a couple here, I think, that were created around the start of the war in Ukraine. Chaos, Courage, Lost in the Darkness. The message is pretty clear. I don't need to unpack that for you. And poppy seeds, certainly in the UK, are well known as a symbol of remembrance for those fallen in wars. On Remembrance Sunday, people wear a red poppy in their lapel, or a white poppy if they are war refuseniks but still want to commemorate those lost. And it's partly to do, I think, with the poppy fields in France where so many fell during the Great War, the First World War. But yeah, they were the obvious thing to go over that textured background in the chaos, showing courage. And here's another pair that were made around the same time. I think, again, we've got cut in half ephemera there going on. There's some, I think it's MDF barbed wire here, which I've just touched with, I think, French roast probably paint underneath the cool dark brown, and then a bit of quinacridone gold paint over the top to get that slightly rusted look. It's quite dark in here today, so I'm not sure you'll get that that's a rusty tone, but hopefully you can see. Some more Aquilegia heads, Granny's bonnet. Ordinary people can do extraordinary things, which we've seen in Ukraine big time. Hold on tight wherever you go. It was at a point when, yeah, populations were on the move again, as they are right now. I mean, this stands today, even now, right now, as a really important commemorative piece. Crackly textures, text textures, and the power of working things through on the craft mat and giving yourself some room for that. Aha! Now these two, can you see what I'm doing here? So we've got another ink splotch background. That's the distress, wrinkle-free distress technique again. So distress inks and oxides smooshed onto the mat. You can find Tim Holtz demoing it, and as I mentioned last week, I am putting together a class, hopefully to be released online later this year, that will share some of my personal tips and tricks for colour combinations and the substrates and so on and so forth. All the things that I know that I can maybe help you to get to where I get to with it, but mostly it's just doing it again and again and again. As you can see, I do, because it's my favourite thing to do. I never tire of seeing how these colours and splotches layer and mesh and blend. It's just magic. So yeah, what was I? Ink splotch backgrounds. We've got the two boys dressed in dark clothes. We've got the brother and sister. They are, I mean, look at their faces, dressed in much paler clothes. So they got a white circular piece of ephemera here. They got a black circular piece of ephemera and a black quote chip and a white quote chip. Foolish Mortals and limited edition. I think this was probably heading into October, so it was starting to get little smatterings of Halloweeny thoughts around it, but not full on. We're foolish mortals whether it's Halloween or not. Let's face it, that's Shakespeare. That's from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Oberon and Puck are talking about how nonsensical the human beings are. Oberon and Puck being fairies, king of the fairies and his servant. So yeah, their opinion of us is not high, I'm afraid. Let's pop those down. And we're nearly there. Now, some of these you may well have seen, because I'm noticing as I head into the end here, I've got quite a lot of moon tags. So I must have had these out when I shared my moon techniques with you. Live gently upon this earth. I think this was one of my very first uses of that beautiful moon mask by Tim Holtz. And there are some of his meadow grasses stamped around. I think this might be another Tim Holtz, or it might be a penny black, the one in the foreground. Little stickers, moonlit night. We're going to get some more moonlit nights now. There we go. So these ones have got 2 different sizes of moon mask on them. So that's the moon getting closer and then getting further away. There you go, perspective. It's all about perspective. Again, they change according to which way round you put them. I think with these, I prefer them that way round. So yeah, more granny's bonnets, some more seed heads here. These are ones I pick in the forest. Pick up off the ground, I should say, or when the stems have snapped, so that the seed heads stay there and it grows. And then there are some of my PaperArtsy quotes. These ones, this one certainly is from Light and Dark. Darkness and Light. The set is called Darkness and Light. Every hour of the light and dark is a miracle. I think that might be... Oh, it was on the tip of my tongue. American poet Walt Whitman. Oh no, he's something is a miracle. Every part and tag of me is a miracle. That's the Walt Whitman quote on that set. I'll have to go and look who that is. I can't remember. Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them. Don't think that's on Darkness and Light. I think that might be on Night and Day. So there's a set that's all around Night and Day. So this was done. This is stamped on some clear tape. And it just seems to have come up at the back here. So I'm just going to stick that down. See, it's good to revisit your tags. You can mend them. So yeah, it's white embossed onto the clear tape and stuck down. I've often done... Oh, look at the shimmer of that. I've just noticed those shimmering backgrounds. I expect you spotted them before me. I wasn't looking on camera, so I didn't quite catch them the same way. And yes, these meadow flowers are also... embossed, I think probably in primary bark, looking at how dark it is. Yeah, the floating quotes, we will undoubtedly come across some floating quotes as we carry on through the tag crates, but this was a different way of doing it. So with that clear tape, you still get to see everything that's going on underneath, but you get your quote over the top. I quite like that as an effect. I need to work out where I got that tape from and where I put it, so that I can do it again. And the final pair of moon tags. Might be my favourite pair of moon tags. Well, that one off, the subtlety of this one actually really pleases me. These are a little bolder. Silence is of different kinds and breathes different meanings. So that's from the set called Music and Silence. And if there be light, then there is darkness. No surprise there. That's from Darkness and Light. Fortune Teller, Forevermore. Real lavender stems again. Yeah, not quite as fragrant those. These might be older. But they can only be as old as the moon tag, obviously. So there you get your cluster of flowers in the middle. That way round, you get a little bit further apart, and the moon is shifting away from us. I like that, because you're getting the journey of the moon that starts, or appears to start, very close to the earth, and then she seems to shift away and get smaller after dusk. Oh, these are, yeah, okay, so these can't be very old, because those aren't the Tim Holtz meadow grasses any longer. Those are my pressed grasses from PaperArtsy. So I think there might be some Tim Holtz ones in the deep background, very soft and subtle. But that embossed one is, yeah, my pressed grasses from my PaperArtsy Eclectica sets. And some little gyp flowers in there along with the lavender. Pleasurable, lots of white spatter to give me a starry, starry night. So that's part 2 of the Columbia Road tag crate. And I hope you've enjoyed a little journey through some of those. Do check out last week's episode, as I say, if you'd like to see the rest of what we got out of the crate. I can't do a full listing, as I mentioned last week, of everything I've used here. But if there's something specific that you don't know what it is, or you want to know what it is, leave me a comment or question. I will do my very best to answer. I can't promise anything. I particularly can't promise anything on colour combinations, because It'll be too long ago. Where there's a specific colour that I've spotted that I know about, I've tried to say it as I've been speaking to you. But thank you so much for your company, as always. Do leave me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this little dive into the tag crate. Hopefully, next week, I think I should be back from my journeyings around Germany journeyings, and yeah, ready to play again with some more tag time. So yeah, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to Words and Pictures. I'd love to have your company. I have also added, as I think you'll have heard by now, depending on how I time these posts, a buy me a coffee button. I'm not going to talk about it the whole time. I don't want to shove it down your throats, and I don't in any way want you to think that it's compulsory. So I just will try to draw your attention to it maybe once a month. And if you feel like you would like to give me some support to carry on making, sharing, creating some words and some pictures, then all of that is very gratefully received. You can find an introduction to the Buy Me a Coffee, I hope, by now, with me live on camera, so you can actually see my face. There's a gift in itself. I'm going to stop talking now. Have a great week, everybody, and happy crafting all.